Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Henrietta Hurtado, and today I'm going to talk to you about this how to interpret or how to understand the Clifton Strengths Assessment results. First of all, using your strengths in your studies is extremely important, but also in your daily life. So, our agenda is going to consist of talking about or giving you an overview of the strengths philosophy, a review of the group's top strengths or your top strengths, and the implications for your learning and career pathway. By implications, I mean the change you would like to see happen as a result of understanding how to implement your strengths in your goals, whether it's for education or your life. So the beginnings of the strengths assessment came from a gentleman, a psychologist named Don Clifton, who is considered the father of strengths psychology and the inventor of the actual Clifton Strengths Finder assessment. Don Clifton, CEO of the Gallup organization, again, is considered the father of the strengths-based psychology by the American Psychological Association Presidential Commendation in 2017. He began as a selection expert, and he conducted 250,000 interviews of high-achieving individuals to put together this assessment. So Gallup's research on high achievers basically consisted of spending he assessed that most of the high achievers spend most of their time in areas of strength instead of weaknesses. And high achievers have learned to delegate or partner or work with others or in a team to achieve success, then apply their strengths to overcome obstacles with that awareness in mind, inventing ways of capitalizing on their strengths in new situations. A strengths orientation is about a perspective, not a tool. So a perspective is unique to each individual. So this assessment or the awareness of your strengths give you exactly that perspective. And that's what we're going to focus on, your perspective. So what's a strength perspective or the strengths perspective? There are two basic premises to that. Individuals already have within themselves what they need to succeed. You already have within you what you need to succeed. Individuals or you gain more when you build on your talents than when you make comparable efforts to improve areas of weaknesses. So they have done some research to demonstrate that greatness comes from building on natural talents, which is what your strengths are, or your natural skills, instead of weaknesses, or you lack, or whatever we lack. So I'm going to ask you to take some time and write your name. I know we talked about the importance of your name, but write your name with your non-dominant hand. Meaning if you are right-handed, print or write your name with your left hand. If you are left-handed, write your name with your right hand. And once you finish writing your name with each of your hands, reflect on how you felt when you wrote your name with your non-dominant hand. And when you're done with analyzing that, write or reflect on how you felt when you wrote your name with your dominant hand. Most of the time, what I get from students or people is that writing or doing something that you're not used to, like writing your name with your non-dominant hand, feels awkward, uncomfortable, difficult, challenging, stressful. Whereas writing your name with your dominant hand, as in most cases, let's say right-handed people, you tend to feel natural, relaxed, comfortable, at ease, peaceful. And that's how you want to feel when you are aware and implementing your perspective or your strengths or acting from your strengths perspective. So, what I would suggest is that when feeling awkward, uncomfortable, stressed out, challenged, I suggest reflecting on your strengths and use the perspective as a guide to reframe or reset your mindset to continue focusing on your goals and the tasks that you have at hand, and whether they're education wise for your work, your career, your personal life. And that perspective will keep you motivated and indeed succeed and do very well in life. So, what is a strength? A strength is a pre-existing capacity or condition for a particular way of behaving, thinking, or feeling that is authentic or true and energizing to the user and enables optimal functioning, development, and performance. To explain more, I'm showing this picture image, this graphic, to demonstrate what a strength is and how the themes are created. For example, if one of your strengths is as an achiever, the talent theme of an achiever is a group of similar talents. And that group of similar talents is what created the achiever or the achievement theme as one of your top 5 signature strengths or themes. So, for example, achievers enjoy hard work. They have a tendency to push hard to complete tasks, desire to achieve. They have internal motivation and find satisfaction in getting things done. A strengths perspective is countercultural. What do I mean by countercultural? It would be countercultural because the dominant cultural paradigm is deficit based. In other words, it is more common to focus on what is wrong with people instead of what is right. And that in turn causes what's called deficit based mindset, low performance, low achievement, low self esteem, feelings of stress, poor health, lack of motivation. And but instead, this research you did on yourself by assessing your strengths is giving you a very positive perspective. So you change the dominant that conversation or the cultural paradigm or the narrative that is most common. Um, but supervisors in general, for example, spend most of their time working with the weakest performers and zeroing in on mistakes instead of focusing on what those individuals' strengths are to to maximize their success and their capacity. Parents and teachers in general tend to focus on students' lower grades rather than on their highest, when in reality, focusing on the highest grades can also increase the grades for that tend to be lower. Weaknesses means basically fixing or preventing the failure. Strengths building promotes success and thriving instead. So the percentage of the US populations that says that their jobs allows them to spend most of their day in work that taps their strengths is actually not very high. This research is a bit old, but this gives you an example of the fact that actually this percentage is lower, and the strengths perspective instead could improve or make that change. So, what can this mean for each of us and for congregational development and for all of us as a team to help thrive together? Well, that could mean that focusing on our strengths um, and really understanding them could give that perspective on how to relate with our fellow students, peers, coworkers, friends, family. For example, the achievers are hardworking and busy. They tend to have very strong stamina or energy, a long to-do list, very organized, highly productive and motivated, and very goal-oriented. Activators. If activator is one of your strengths, like that's been one of mine when I've taken this assessment, activators tend to turn ideas into actions. They can be impatient with talking about doing things, wants to do them now. So that is a challenge. Powerful force in making things happen is a positive thing. Actions or action is the best method for learning by actually doing. Adaptability. These people live in the here and now, have great focus and energy in the moment of need, and adjust easily, go with the flow, handle the unexpected well. And I'd like to say that in different areas of our lives, certain strengths, like for example, adaptability, might show up more than when we're working or doing something that implies being more formal. I think, for example, and I've noticed when I'm traveling or on vacation, mm, I tend to go with the flow more and um, and really give myself that opportunity to be flexible, but also because I'm not as stressed out about deadlines and appointments and meetings. So that could also happen to you at times. You might be performing more on a certain theme than one you did not have a top five theme on because you're doing something that you normally don't do. If you one of your themes is to be analytical, the characteristic of analytical people will be that you search for reasons for why things are. You look for cause and effect. You want to see the evidence, and you are data driven. You probably enjoy research. You ask questions. You are objective, logical, and rigorous. And you look for patterns and connections. Analytical is not one of my top five strengths. but I can tell you, I noticed some of these characteristics are part of my what I consider my personality or the way I do things, especially noticing patterns um, and asking why and trying, I tend to be logical, but I will see because one of my strengths is intellect. So the themes are, I think, oftentimes they interact with each other and they're similar. As an arranger, which is also a theme that I've scored high in the past, um, you're able to find the right combination of people and the resources to get things done. At their best, you're a dynamic in dynamic situations. You confront the unexpected, highly organized yet flexible, order out of chaos, and you can be a multitasker, but that's not always the case, or perhaps as healthy to be multitasking and not focus on one task at once. Belief. If this is one of your themes, you're someone that enjoys enduring core values, deeply held ideas about life, purpose, and how things should be. You're energized by activities that are mission and congruent, dependable, consistent, and highly ethical. Command. This is one of your strengths. You are someone that needs to be, you see what needs to be done and does it. You're willing to confront, take charge in crisis, very willing to share opinions with others, and you have presence and voice. Communication. If communication is one of your themes, you're someone who enjoys talking and you do it very well. You are good at explaining clearly, captivating stories, images, and metaphors. Inspirational and motivating is one of your traits. Competition. If you're competitive, you're someone who pushes self and others to be the best. Good at selecting venues where they can excel and achieve. Driven to win. And you tend to compare self with others. Connectedness. You see that all things happen for a reason. Believe that all things are connected to each other. You are respectful, considerate, accepting, caring for others because of this connection. You are a bridge builder and you have a very strong sense of purpose. Consistency. If consistency is one of your themes, you are someone that is fair and just in the treatment with others. You are a warrior against special treatment or favoritism. You are clear, or you practice clear rules and procedures, enable you to treat everyone fairly. You are predictable and even-handed, and balance is important to you. Context. You look to the past to understand the present. You see patterns that emerge from studying what happened before. You need to understand the history of an event and the surrounding dynamics of decisions. Understanding initial intentions and the underlying structure gives them or you the confidence to make decisions. So you're also research oriented. Deliberative. You think through all the pros and cons before making a decision. Making the right decision is more important than timing of the decision. Through you're thorough and careful, often a private person. Good at seeing the risks. A developer. You see the potential in others. Love to see progress. Appreciate the baby steps others ignore. You are encouraging and you like to help others experience success. Discipline. You are highly organized and task oriented. You get things done on time, efficiently and effectively. Create order and structure where needed, and you need predictability. Empathy. Instinctive understanding of others and sense what it is like to be someone else. You can put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You pick up on the pain and joy of others, sometimes before they express it. People feel heard and understood by you or by them, and you form close, supportive relationships. Focus. If focus is one of your themes, you're someone who filters out anything that doesn't get toward the goal. You are goal oriented and you need to see a clear destination. You prioritize actions, good follow through, and you stay on track. Futuristic. You can see in detail what the future might hold. You see possibilities. You're a visionary, energized by what lies ahead, and you can paint a picture for others. Harmony. Peacemakers. You're a peacemaker and you seek consensus. You can see points of view that people have in common. You're good at helping others work together. You hold conflict to a minimum. Peace, peace, and perfect peace. Ideation. Creative and originality is one of your themes and your strengths. You love to brainstorm and see possibilities. Always look for connections and new perspectives. You're good at helping others reframe things and can synthesize a lot of different ideas into simpler concepts. Includer. You reach out to the outsider. You're accepting of others. You want others to feel a part of things. You are non-judgmental and you believe everyone is equally important and valued. Input. If input is one of your strengths, like mine, you're inquisitive. You're an inquisitive collector. What's next to your bed? On your lamp table? Books, magazines, candles, lamps, quotes, artwork. You crave information, and your active curiosity is one of your strengths. You seek perspectives, you seek expertise. You love to learn. Individualization. You see others as distinct, unique persons. You can see how people who are very different can work together. You can build productive teams because they see the talents and structure their teams around those strengths. You form powerful relationships with others that build on trust, and you like being taken seriously. Intellection, definitely one of my strengths. You're introspective, love to study and engage in intellectual discussions. You need time to think. This is really true. And you really enjoy the process. You love to reflect and ponder, and you need time alone to do that. You need time for personal reflection. A learner. I'm definitely a learner. That's my number one strength. You love the process of learning as much as what is actually learned. You want to continuously improve. Learning builds confidence. You thrive in dynamic work environments and short term projects. A maximizer. This has been one of my top strengths, especially when I first took the assessment. If you are a maximizer, excellence is your standard. You are drawn to good to great, not bad to good. You see talents and strengths in others, sometimes before they even do, and love to help others because excited about their potential. You have the capacity for seeing what others do best and how to match people to tasks. And you happen to be a good networker as well. Positivity. If positivity is one of your strengths or your themes, you are enthusiastic, optimistic, and energetic. You stimulate others to be more productive and hopeful. You generate energy and enthusiasm in others. You are generous with praise and you are quick to smile. Relator. You enjoy working hard with close friends and achieve a goal together. You have deep relationship with a small circle and you are pulled toward people that you already know. You are comfortable with intimacy and self-disclosing. Responsibility, one of my strengths. Dependable, others count on you. You keep your word. You take psychological ownership for anything to which you commit. And you're good follow through and conscientious. Restorative, energized by problem solving. Readily take on projects others see as unsalvageable. Can analyze a situation and see immediately what needs to be fixed. You quickly recognize problems others don't see, and you love to save the day. Self assurance, self confident, and have faith in your strengths. Able to take risks, meet challenges, and deliver on promises. Confident in decisions and ability to manage your own life, not pressured by what others may think. Good for you. Significance. Wants to have an impact on others. Loves making a difference in the world is important. You are independent. Want to be given choices and do things your own way. Powerful contributors and enjoy recognition. Goal oriented and achievement oriented. Significance is one of my top 5 strengths. Strategic. This is definitely one of my strengths. Create multiple ways to do things and always have plan B. Can quickly see relevant patterns and issues in any problem. Always ask, what if? And you can see different ways of reaching a goal or solving a problem. Woo! Win others over. This is an acronym and a very unique one. You have the capacity to quickly connect with others and generate positive responses. You are comfortable with strangers and the crowds, always seem to know what to say, and you enjoy the challenge of meeting new people and getting people to like them or to like you. So our strengths affect the way we process information, experience others, view time and structure, accommodate change, communicate. They tell a story. So, what I need you to do now is to find a person that shares strengths with you. So, if you took this assessment as part of a group or a workshop, then at this point, you need to find someone next to you or behind you and who actually has one of your strengths, one of your top 5 strengths, and talk about that strength and how that strength or that perspective is manifested in you. If not, you want to reflect on your strengths and maybe how that conversation would have gone had you discussed with someone about a strength the two of you have in common. There are 4 domains of leadership strength. So your themes, your actual signature themes, probably are spread throughout these 4 domains of leadership strength, which are executing, relationship building, strategic thinking, and influencing. Or you might have only 2 or 3 of these themes, leadership themes, because of where your top 5 strengths um, fall or are under. For example, executing strengths could be characterized or explained as you're someone or people that make things happen. So if you were an achiever, for example, an arranger, like I am, you have belief, consistency, deliberative, discipline, focus, responsibility, or restorative, then that means that people with these themes would be under the executing strengths theme. And this would be for domains of leadership strength. Now we have the relationship building strengths, which is the glue that holds people together. You have adaptability, your developers, those with connectedness, empathy, harmony, includers, individualization, positivity, and relators. All these themes or people with these themes are actually under the relationship building category for the domains of leadership strengths. Strategic thinking strengths. So, for example, if your strategic is one of your signature strengths, then definitely that particular strength is under the strategic thinking strength or domain of leadership strength. Analyticals are under strategic thinking, context, futuristic, those with ideation, input, intellection, learner. A lot of my strengths, or most of my strengths, are actually under the strategic thinking strengths. Influencing strengths or domains of leadership. These people reach a broader audience. Activators, those of you with the activator theme, command, communication, competition, maximizer, self-assurance, significance, and woo. Then those people with these themes are actually under the influencing strengths or domain of leadership. So where are you with your strengths? Look at your top 5 themes and see in which categories of leadership strengths your themes are. Are most of your themes under executing, relationship building, strategic thinking, or influencing. So let's talk about managing weaknesses. Using our strengths to develop new approaches, in turn, automatically, that awareness, that reflection, that reset helps you manage weaknesses or strengthen what would be a weakness. So partnering with others helps you, delegating to others, learning the skills and or knowledge needed to complete a task or achieve a goal. That's what creates strength. Leaders make their greatest mistakes out of the shadow side of their strengths. What do you mean, or what do we mean by shadow side? I would say the shadow side is when we overdo something. Overpowering would be an example. So you want to have more balance. So instead of cowardizing, you want to utilize your strengths, have courage, and have achievement. But if you're on the overutilizing, you're definitely on the shadow side. For example, if you know what the speed limit is, 65 miles per hour, but you start driving 70 miles per hour, not only are you risking creating stress, but you might also, you're breaking the rules, you're breaking the law. And sometimes unconsciously hurt others as a result of your actions. So that self-management, that awareness of your strengths, that mindfulness, I would say, is what keeps you. Your strengths keep you mindful. Your strengths perspective keeps you mindful. So managing the shadows, this is a group discussion. Find a person that shares a strength with you and discuss. Ask them, what happens to your energy level when you cannot utilize your strengths? Or if you happen to be alone, ask yourself this question. What happens to your energy level when you cannot utilize this strength? Do you feel depressed, low energy, anxious, stressed out? Do things feel difficult? What happens to your energy? And what could be the shadow side of your strength? And how have you learned to manage the shadow side? Learning how to manage the shadow side takes time, patience, and perseverance. But working with others, partnering with others, using strengths to develop new approaches, delegating to others, and learning new skills or the knowledge needed can in turn help you manage the shadow side of your strengths. So find someone who shares a strength with you. You happen to be in a group and discuss the values that arise from this strength. For example, if one of your strengths is harmony, discuss the value that arise from this, from having this strengths perspective of harmony, and review the strengths you do not have and identify which ones you may have a hard time valuing. Discuss ways in which the hard to understand strengths complement your strengths or balance your shadow side. Conflict does exist, but again, with strengths awareness and management of the shadow side, we can help to understand dichotomies. For example, if you happen to have competition and command as two of your themes, And then you have harmony. Well, that could be what you would say a dichotomy or the opposite. So you need to be mindful of that. Individualization, but then you have consistency. You have context, which is really focused on the past or history, but you also have futuristic, or you're working with someone who's futuristic and you're focused on context. How are you going to make a connection and keep that harmony going? If you are a strategic, if you have the strategic theme and then you're working with someone who also has a strategic theme, or if you happen to have the strategic theme as one of your top 5 strengths, and you're also a strategic leader, how do those interact? And how do you interact with others if that's the case? Perhaps this is um, a nice balance. Activators, working with someone that are deliberative or analytical, might be a challenge. You have responsibility and belief, but then you're working with someone who has adaptability. And then discipline versus input, and communication with intellection. So with strengths perspective, we have laws as well. We have rules or differences, the law of differences. So the difference is, for example, valuing, creating trust and productivity, and judging fear and passivity or passive aggressiveness, which is negative. So you can see the opposite, valuing versus judging, trust versus fear, productivity versus passivity or passive aggressiveness. And I would say in this case, you want to try to stay away from the shadow side at times, especially if the judging is going to lead to fear or passive aggressiveness. Rather, go into valuing, focus on the value, develop trust, and as a result, become more productive. So, what leads to commitment and engagement? Number one, believing that what you do is important. You are important. Having good relationships. Have good relationships, especially with yourself. Knowing what is expected of you. Know what is expected of you. Discussing your progress and reflecting on your progress. Knowing that your opinion counts, your input counts. Working with committed people. Work with responsible people. Work with those who believe in your success and are committed as you are. And why not receive recognition as a result of all your work and for doing a work well done? That leads to commitment and engagement. Focus on your strengths, focus on others' strengths, and in turn, transform weaknesses. I wish you much success. Thank you very much.